If you want to grow your business, you also have to hire, fire, and promote accordingly, is a big quote, I think, somewhere on Instagram. And in the past 2 years, I've grown my businesses in tremendous ways. And in Team FastForwardAmy, we've grown from it just being me to working with freelancers to having a full-time team on board. So in today's episode, I'm going to give you a team update. Who does what currently in our team? How have we dealt with having to fire someone? How have we grown? And which 2 things should you take into considering when you are hiring? Hello, and welcome to the Fast Forward Amy Show, the show where we lift your life and business with simple strategies. I'm Fast Forward Amy, your host and coach, and I'll bring you a new episode every Tuesday. In the past 2 years, I've been growing my teams for both of my businesses, and man oh man, has that been a bumpy ride. And I know online I'm getting a lot of questions about, hey Amy, what are the current roles in your team? What does your team look like? Where do you start? What's your first hire? And I've already done a podcast episode about that, about the hiring process, and I think you can find that in episode 49. But right now we are more than double as far away from that episode, and I have learned a lot over the last couple of months. I have realized that it is my task to make my team grow, to help them grow, so they can grow the business, but they can grow themselves into more confident, more expert versions of themselves. But I've also learned how to fire someone, more about hiring, and all of that. So today I thought it would be fun to give you an update on the current organization of my business, who does what in which roles, and to kind of give you an insight into the things I learned about firing, hiring, and so on. So I'm gonna try and keep this as short as possible, but this is episode, let me check, this is episode 104. So that means if you want to read a recap of this episode, you can find all of that through fastforwardamy.com/104. That means on our website, you can find literally every podcast with articles, with recaps, with links, anything you need, you can find on the site. It's my dream that people would actually bookmark my website and go there every day to look at new updates. So check out the site. Okay, so I have 3 themes for today. I have growing, hiring, and firing. And I want to start by just talking about the general setup of how we've grown our business. So at a certain point, throughout scaling my business, throughout growing, throughout wanting to service more clients, I realized that I couldn't do everything myself anymore. And it wasn't necessarily because it wasn't possible to do everything myself, but it's just because there's certain things I'm really not good at. So I realized I needed to find people to help support me in growing the business and do what they are good at. Now, one of the first mistakes I made there is assuming that someone else will come and solve all of my shit, which never happens. I think as a business owner, you can't keep saying you're not organized. So I still had to get organized. I still had to drive that vision for my business, drive that organization, supported by extraordinary people. The first person who came on board in the Fast Forward Amy business has already created episodes with me, Laura. You can find her in episode 49 amongst others. And she joined to help support me in getting the business organized so we could serve more people. We did an incredible launch together last year, the $1 million launch. We worked on getting the new hires. We just learned a lot together. But the mistake we made together is that we are too much alike. Laura is also very much an abstract thinker. She's not as much someone who likes to focus on the execution as she does on the creative side, the strategy side. So throughout the past year, since discovering those things, we've tried to get her more and more to that position where she can really be a strategic thinker. Surprise, surprise, she got pregnant. And I was super excited for her, obviously. And that also gave us the opportunity to work towards her going on a long pregnancy leave. Kind of feel awkward talking about this, but that's the goal of this episode, is a team update. So Laura and I and the rest of the team started working on finding a replacement for her, simplifying her role, getting her out of a part of the sales role, fully focused only on our products and programs, and transferring that role to someone new. So as of today, we have a few key people in our organization, and it's always changing. So we have Caroline, who's our sales manager. She used to be our online business manager. Now she's our sales manager. She works together with Katja, who also does sales and is more focused on the one-on-one sales. 75% of the time, and 25% of the time, she's also a support coach in our programs. Sandy is the replacement of Laura, and she's currently heading the programs in our products. So that means for our entire Business Freedom Elevator program, for our entire Boss Up mentorship, which is, by the way, currently enrolling, one of the last few days that you can enroll. So if you're interested in scaling your business, making more money while working less and outsourcing and all of that, go and check out the Boss Up mentorship through fastforwardamy.com/bum. So Sandy is there. Obviously, she gets supported by support coaches. And as we grow and have more and more clients, we're also teaching more and more support coaches to become a kind of like a fast forward certified support coach, because obviously we have support groups, we have tons of questions. Like yesterday, I had a call with her going through questions. We have created a manual, a full like tutorial and system of educating new coaches in the fast forward way so we can continue coaching our own clients at a bigger scale. It used to feel to me like I was the only person who could answer questions. So really, handing over so many things all the time has been incredibly difficult. But what has really helped me is looking at it, switching my mindset from having to review stuff to really just trying to educate my team so they could start making the decisions themselves. That's what I've learned from other big CEOs, is that you gotta help people be able to make decisions. Sometimes it's really difficult, and I think the biggest pitfall is saying like, I'll do it myself. It's better to have your team do stuff, to give them feedback, but also just continuously educate them, take the time to teach them, and also make sure that as you are teaching them about that area of expertise, you also make sure you can document it for future reference for new people, because sometimes people will be let go, or they will find a different job, or they will go on pregnancy leave, and you want to make sure that you don't have to go through that entire process over again. So you have Caroline in sales, Katja in sales and support coaching, Sandy in also in the coaching department. And then currently I am heading marketing together with Robin and Amber. Robin is responsible for the podcast, for example. She is responsible for anything that is graphic design and branding elements. I am still like the end-all creative director. I'm still like the end point in all of the different departments. But Robin is more responsible for the visual side of things. Amber is more responsible for the copywriting side of things. Marketing is a really big passion of mine, and there we are just trying to find a way to work together, the three of us, to grow. We also still have freelancers we work with in copywriting, for example. But in Belgium, it's really expensive to work with freelancers, so we do try to do stuff in-house. I do feel like if you look at a lot of American business coaches, they almost only work with, like, they'll be like, hey, I have a team of like 20 people, but it will all be freelancers. There's a huge difference because you're not doing the same type of conversations with your people. You're not helping them build up their pension. You're not responsible for all of the insurances, for all of the conversations, for making them grow as much. So I do feel like the responsibility there is a really, really big difference. Currently, as of today, as I'm recording, I am looking to hire a personal assistant for me, for the CEO of my company, because I just feel like I need more support. And aside from that, so those are the full-time roles in our business. We obviously also have freelancers we work with on a daily basis. Like we have Elise in customer service and admin, we have an accountant, we have a videographer, we have someone for hair and makeup. All of that, some of those things we will never do in-house. Some of those things we might do in-house. But one of my biggest realizations in the whole hiring these key roles was, I think I can't outsource leadership. So you do have to step into that leader role unless you can really find someone to be the CEO of your company and to be that leader. As of today, it feels like I can't outsource leadership, so I really need to step into that leader role. That also means that I need to make sure I am capable of doing that. So I need the amount of, like a bigger amount of support, so I can have support in terms of a personal trainer, in terms of a personal assistant, so I can step into that leadership role in my company and set some boundaries so I can be the right person for my people and I can help them grow. And that means I need to be super grounded. I need to have my shit together. It's definitely a learning process. But I've also learned to have a little bit of distance, but not to have too much distance, because you do want to be part of your team. You want to make sure that you are doing things, are reaching the vision and the mission of your business all together. So I feel like there's a thin line. What has really helped me in that is creating heaps of trust with my people and having the right people next to me that I can talk to about strategy, about things, and I can also open up about struggling, which doesn't mean that you are still like in the hierarchy at the top, and sometimes it is very lonely at the top. I don't want to scare anyone off. I just want you to be aware that stepping into that leadership role is a whole different game than becoming an entrepreneur. And that's why when people tell me, oh, I really want a team, I'm like, but do you? Because that's not necessarily something that might be in your character to want. Like when I have a disc test, I can see, like, that's the test with the colors. I don't know if you've ever taken one. So you have like red, yellow, blue, green. My dad hates it when I call it the colors, but we have like dominance is the red color. The yellow color is more of like the creative side of things. I have a lot of creativity in me when I'm always working with people. I don't get enough white space, and then I get a little bit unhappy. So I always need to make sure I have enough white space, and then I can be the best version of me and also be a good leader. So constantly just trying to find that balance for myself, having a coach, zooming out on time, putting boundaries in place in my calendar, those things I'm really learning on the fly. I don't know if that was the gist of this episode, but I feel like I'm just telling you anyways. What I wanted to say about the hires is that I hired a salesperson about a year too late. Last year, I already knew that, for example, having help with sales calls, sales emails, all of that was really big, but it always felt like a little bit of an extra thing, like too extra to hire someone solely for that. So I hired a bunch of people for maintenance things, for doing things that were already there, for optimizing things that were already there. But in order to grow my business, that's why growing is a part of this, you need to get the hires that will actually have an exponential effect on your business, because you literally can't do it without them. So that's why hiring the salesperson, for me, I did that a year too late. I should have pulled that trigger a year ago, and that would have really helped me grow my business, because sometimes you just got to choose your 80-20. And I think despite the fact that my business has done phenomenally well in the past 2 years, or we're always growing exponentially, I do feel like throughout that entire process, and I need to remember this for the next year of growth, is to prioritize the growth, to prioritize the proactive stuff, and the maintenance stuff will take care of itself. It's like I said in the previous episode. Which episode was that? I think it was episode 101. I focused too much on organization and not enough on why we were getting organized, like which targets we wanted to hit. So the growth team there for me, I think I just got to remember that everyone's priority in my business, the KPIs for me as well, the targets, it needs to be geared towards growth, towards innovation, not towards maintenance, because that makes me very sad. That makes a creative person in me really sad, because maintaining is one thing, but if you're maintaining in your business, you're basically going backwards. You always got to be moving forward. And when I was on the verge of burnout and someone told me that, like, maintaining is the same as going backwards, I was like, no, because I'm really proud. I get to maintain my stuff. And bullshit, in hindsight, I gotta tell them they're right. It's the same like in online marketing. If you're not innovating, if you're not moving forward, like, you can never assume that what works right now in online marketing will keep on working. So you always gotta be staying ahead of the game. So that means that you want to create this sense of urgency, you want to make your people grow so they see that too, so they want to continue innovating and not just be focused on the process, but be focused on the results. That's what you need in order to make your business grow. Yeah. Was this a rant? I don't know. It's just been, honestly, the wildest ride. Like, this episode is my team update. I am so happy with my team. I cannot even begin to tell you how amazing it is to be surrounded by people who take so much ownership, responsibility, who want to move forward. What's been difficult for me is just how confrontational it's been to see all of those things you're not doing. So yesterday, that you're not good at yet. So yesterday, as I was talking to Sandy and helping her answer coaching questions, I jokingly said to her, like, oh my God, it's so much fun for me to do something I'm good at and that I can just do, because I'm always doing things that are new. I'm always doing things that are pushing me out of my comfort zone. And sometimes that's just really scary, but it also means you're on the right track. And that's why we've been able to grow our business, because when we do an exercise and we think, okay, we want to hit that growth target, we have 10 possible things we could be doing in order to hit that. I'll tell my clients, write a list of 10 things you could do to achieve that goal. Then pick 2, like 80-20 principle wise, pick 2 that will help you get closer to that goal. With our team, we are doing all of the things. We're doing the 10 things. We still have a bunch of things we're not doing, but we go all in. We do the sales calls, we do the conversations, we do the lives, we do the emails, we do the content. There's so much we do. And I think a big learning lesson as well for me is to then also take a step back and reevaluate, because you can't just add work on work on work. You gotta reevaluate what's working and what isn't, and just cut out the redundancy and focus on the things that are working. But there's no use in just handing out tasks and increasing the flow of your processes when those different tasks have no effect on your business. Don't know if any of this makes sense to you. I'm always dedicated to sharing the real and raw. Just like I do in my Boss Up mentorship there, I show my behind the scenes numbers, behind the scenes of how we get organized, what we're doing, launch stats, all of that. Sometimes it's wildly uncomfortable for me, but for me, that is the essence of what we do in our business. Is we have that authentic authority. We want to share with you what this has been like. And sometimes that's weird because I'll be saying stuff and my team hears it and I'm like, well, it's really weird also being a personal brand and sharing your feelings online and at the same time being someone's boss. So you'll be in a meeting like, I have my shit together, and then on social media you'll be like, oh, I was crying earlier this morning. Like, finding the balance between those things. Still haven't found it, to be honest, but I think everything comes back down to respect, transparency, and trust, and fostering that with your team is really, really important. So that's mutual respect, mutual transparency, mutual trust. Those are key items, which brings me to sometimes it isn't working. And I think there's a saying, hire fast, fire faster. If it's really not working, you should fire the person, because you're not in your business for charity. If it's not working, you need to tell that person. And obviously, there can be evaluation moments where you talk through the things, where you give them opportunities to keep on growing, to improve. But if it's really not working, it's just not the fit for you, for your business, and you're the boss, and you should really let go of that person, because it's taking up more energy and time to constantly course direct than it is giving you like return on your investment of spending all of that time and energy on that person. So earlier this year, we had to let someone go. And while I was in that conversation, I made the mistake of not starting by saying, hello, I made a decision and I'm not going to come back on this decision. So we're going to have this conversation, but know that my decision is firm and I will not change my mind. Because as I was in that conversation of firing the person or letting them go, they tried to convince me not to, despite the fact that it was really, really, really necessary. And later on, I talked to my dad about this. Is this too personal? I'm sharing this? No, it's been a while. No one knows. It's fine. Later on, I was talking to my dad, and he told me it's best to go into those decisions just like kind of with a breakup by firmly stating that you're not going to come back on your decision. So that's my tip for you. If you ever have to let someone go, it is a terrifying conversation to have. It is not fun because obviously you're a go-getter and you want your people to be the same. But sometimes it just doesn't work out. So then start off by being really clear that you're not going to change your mind and that this is the decision. And that doesn't mean that that can't happen, again, with respect, transparency, and trust. I'm still on really good terms with everyone I've ever worked with. But it's just necessary. So we covered growth, we covered firing, and yeah, hiring. Hiring, I've already created a bunch of things about that. The episode 49, as I said as well. But I think since we've recorded that, and now I think what's been a really big game changer for me, and all of this, by the way, I explained it in much more detail in the Boss Up mentorship, which is our scale-up program, is that you don't necessarily need to hire for skills, although it would be fun to hire people for skills, obviously. But when they don't have the skills yet, you can teach them the skills you need, so that's fine. You want to hire for character in the sense that you need to make sure that they are the right fit for the job. If you want to hire someone super organized, the way I used to approach it was like, are you organized? And people are like, yes, I love to do lists. And someone loves to do lists. That is not a sign that they are organized. you want to go through different rounds of interviews. You want to have them do business cases for the job they will be doing. You want to make sure that you really know what kind of profile you need for a certain function. You want to have them do different types of questionnaires, so you really get a feeling of like an insights tests, like the colors I was talking about, like what's their natural fit, because people often are lacking a lot of self-awareness, and we also lack self-awareness. So it's really easy to just hire someone because you like them, but you don't necessarily want to hire someone you like. You want to hire someone who's good for the job and you can build a relationship with of respect, trust, and transparency. It doesn't have to become your best friend. I think it's kind of like moving in with someone. It's often easier to move in with someone you don't know than you build up a really good relationship as roommates. You might end up becoming friends, but it's a lot more difficult to move in with friends because you often have different expectations. When you are hiring in your business, don't make it too personal. Really make sure you get the right hires for the right positions. And that means that you need to have a really good view of what you need in that position. You need to be really upfront about it. But what I've noticed is that even when I'm very clear with people and tell them, this is going to be the role, are you up for this? It's going to be a lot of this and it's very chaotic or whatever. They're like, yeah. But then they're still surprised when they get to that role, what it's really like. So be very clear about it. Have them make business cases. Put everything on paper. And when you're starting to look for someone, start by really identifying either what is taking up too much of your time that you really need to outsource to someone else, or what you really need to grow your business and that's lacking right now, is what I'm saying, is that those growth hires. So I think there's a difference between taking over hires, transferring some of your tasks to someone else, and growth hires. And I would watch out with too many transfer hires because those jobs will get done anyways, but the growth will never happen if you don't make people responsible for that growth. And on that note, I think I'm gonna just stop here. I did create a guide for you if you want to build your own 7-figure organization. By the way, I'll recap at the end. But if you want to build your own $1 million business, a 7-figure organization, or you want to get ready to scale to that level, check out my growth guide. It's the 7-figure organization guide. So fastforwardamy.com/7-figure organization. You can download it through the link in the description. It will teach you how we have set up the organization and communication in our business, how we've built out our departments, how we make our decisions. It's definitely a guide I would have wanted 2 years ago before I started doing all of these hires, all of this growth, because it really would have helped me expand in a much smoother way without running into so many walls, probably. And last but not least, I'll add, hire for growth, fire if it's not working out. And when you are hiring, when you have a good feeling about someone, try to make sure you have like references. Try to really make sure why that is, because people can make you feel good without actually having the skills or just the character that you need. When you have a bad feeling with someone, when they show up late for their first interview, when they don't do what they were gonna say from the get-go, just don't even bother. Just don't do it. It's my, like, if you care about stuff like that, which I hope you do, just don't go there. Was this depressing or was this good? No one knows. But if you like the episode, screenshot, share it to your Instagram stories, and tag me, because obviously sometimes I have no clue what you think of an episode, and it would be really fun to hear from you. Talk to you next week, Tuesday, and have a happy day.